Hello, welcome back. Today we go through the latest Atlantic 75 batch, and yeah, it contains at least one of the most anticipated titles in the whole series, and I of course talk about the Genesis remaster, the Genesis reissue of Trick of a Tale. We will compare this title also against the British first pressing, which I have here, and see how it went, how the comparison went. But before we get into the title, into this release and the other two, let's start, with the jacket. Luckily, we get this embossed, textured sleeve like we get for the Nursery Crime. Those of you who have the Nursery Crime knows what I'm talking about, and that totally makes sense. First of all, it's an extremely beautiful material in my opinion for a jacket, and second, the originals also has textured jackets, textured cover. I think when it comes to the cover art of Trick of a Tale from Genesis, for me, it's the most beautiful one of those really beautiful covers, because it also makes total sense, because all those beautiful drawings, all those beautiful paintings of these person groups, creatures you see here, it makes total sense, because every group or creature or person reflects a title of the song, of course, except of Los Endos, which is a instrumental title. It doesn't have an equivalent on the jacket, but for the rest, every one of these drawings represents a title of the album. What we also get when it comes to this reissue, we got a recreation paper of the symbols of the drawings of the inner sleeve of the original, which is of course a very welcomed add-on when it comes to this release. Yeah, 1976. First album without Peter Gabriel, who left the band for whatever reason. So what I've read is that he left the band because the other band members felt that he was too dominant, and he also had personal problems by himself and with the band members. You can read all about it. It's quite interesting. Let's not get too deep into it, but that meant a lot. It meant, for example, that Phil Collins became the lead singer, which wasn't that easy when it comes to live concerts, so he could not, or only when it comes to longer drumming solos, he has to leave his convenient place behind his drums. But in a way, if I think about it and when I listen to it, it makes total sense, because in my opinion, the voice of Phil Collins and the voice, or at least the singing voice of Phil Collins and the singing voice of Peter Gabriel, they have quite some similarities. So it's not such a big jump in a way. Very, very astonishing. So, and also the people at the time didn't seem to think too bad about it, because when this one came out, it was, in North America, for example, the most selling title of Genesis so far. So, that being said, let's get into the comparison with the first British pressing I have here. The original also comes in a gatefold. Here you can see the original inner sleeve. Show you the vinyl. of course, with this iconic label. You can see it. And yeah, again, and yeah, maybe you can look at this. And that's so often, it's so far in all cases, there is almost no dead wax. Almost invisible. That of course means that those are long albums and they are quite narrow to get everything on this single disc release. And so far, every Genesis release, when it comes to the Atlantic 75 series, really heavily benefits from this fact that they put them out as 45 RPMs. So they have the space, they can breathe in a way, and yet again, we as a customer, as the one who has those records, really benefit from those things. Although I have to say, this original, in my personal opinion, is the best sounding Genesis of those I have. And the main difference between the analog or the Atlantic 75 reissue next to the original is within the mid-range. Here we have a way better, more prominent mid-range, which gives the whole recording an more coherent body. The album really benefits from this one. Not when it comes to the heights, but in the mid-range. And please consider, I'd say 80% of the music is within the mid-range. So that really makes a nice difference. And when it comes to side 4, where we have Trick of the Tail and where we have Los Endos, side 4 is unbelievable. Side 4 is demo quality when it comes to a great, amazing sounding prog rock album. That's nothing but stunning. Amazing job again from A to Z or Z from Analog Production. And yeah, here it is, Trick of the Tail, Genesis. Then there were 4, and later there were 3, if I remember correctly. Yeah, now slightly a big jump from this Genesis masterpiece, at least in my opinion it's a masterpiece. 15 years earlier, jazz music, 1961. What we have here is Bax and Train, Milt Jackson and John Coltrane. It's the only collaboration of Milt Jackson and John Coltrane. As I said, came out in 61, was recorded in 59. Coltrane and Jackson got accompanied by Hank Jones on the piano, Paul Chambers on bass, and Connie Kay on the drums. And this vibra harp player, Milt Jackson, although he differs in style when it comes to John Coltrane, but on this record, on this album, their collaboration is so perfect. They play so well, very well together, that I'm a bit surprised. Maybe you know some reasons why this is the only collaboration of those two. I think this album, for every John Coltrane fan, maybe even for every jazz fan, this is a must-have. This is so beautiful. This is such an amazing, beautiful listening. We already had an Org 45 RPM, which I had, but I gave it away because I wasn't that happy with it. This is a wonderful mastering. We have 3 of the 5 titles. We have as one song on each side, which is of course amazing. Again, we have this room, we have the space, so that we can listen in the best possible quality when it comes to this album. And yeah, you know, when it comes to flute, vibraphone, vibraharp, whatever you might call it, but when it comes to those instruments in jazz and or rock, I'm all in. I'm all in. I love when we have a flute. We lost the flute somehow in music. Okay, Andre 3000 put out a record with the flute, but somehow we lost the flute, and of course we also lost the vibraharp or the vibraphone, and I think lost is the correct term, because this is a loss, and having Milt Jackson playing the vibraharp and John Coltrane on the tenor sax, that's simply amazing. Of course, we get a gatefold jacket with two beautiful session photos of the guys, and of course we get a ton of information when it comes to the backside of this. So this is maybe an album that we jazz fans, Coltrane fans, don't talk too much about, but this is for sure an enrichment in every Coltrane or jazz collection. Always a beautiful listening. So, another special title. I really couldn't wait to get this one, because if there is a genre that's not so prominent in my collection, then it's funk and soul. And here we have a giant of the funk and soul genre. We have Donny Hathaway with his second self-titled album from 1971. Also again an amazing cover art, comes again in a very sturdy, you know, I don't have to say that all the time that we really get something sturdy when it comes to the Atlantic 75s. Of course, it's on 45 RPM, and it came out originally on Atco. I show you the Atco label for those of you who haven't seen it that often. Here we go. And yeah, what we have here is Donny Hathaway putting up songs on this album that are all covers of gospel songs of the time period. And of course, the soul and funk giant he does an amazing, uplifting, powerful job when it comes to this record. It's such a shame that he tragically committed suicide, I think in '79. What an artist, what an artist. Such a powerful, brilliantly sounding record. Some of those songs really left me speechless. He Ain't Heavy, He's My Brother. Wow, My Girl, Little Girl. Wow. Really an amazing album, and one of those albums I wasn't into. I of course at a certain point I probably listened to it, but listened to it again now several times. Brilliant. So happy that we now get those records in this quality. Maybe somebody can explain, I didn't find anything about it. Why is the second album the self-titled one? Whatever the reason is, doesn't matter in a way, because we get an amazing record here yet again. So quite a versatile batch with the prog rock, with the jazz, with the funk and soul, and I really like that when you get it this way. So the different ones, and you have a spectrum. That's always extremely enjoyable for me. And what also goes for all of those three, 180 gram dead, flat, silent vinyl. Yeah, that's what we wish for, that's what we can hope for. That of course was the last batch of 2024. I think at least the Genesis. Yeah, they are already labeled 2025 if you look at the backside of your jacket. But it came out in 2024. Yeah, and 2024 was an unbelievable year of analog production in my opinion. They put out all over, they put out roughly 80 titles. Putting out 80 titles and keeping up the level that high, chapeau. Amazing, fantastic job of Chad Kasem and his team. 80 titles is crazy. But in a way, it's crazy in a good way. And as we already stated several times, but keep them coming. Keep them coming. If you keep up the quality that high, just keep them coming. And please, if possible, keep them in print, because with this speed of releasing those titles, it's good when you don't have this, sometimes a few years back, this ridiculous pressure of getting them as fast as possible. So I really prefer it the way it is right now. Let's hope it stays that way. For us collectors, that's a great thing. That's a great thing. Freedom of choice. Okay, that being said, I also want to thank you for this year of sticking with me through my videos. I hope that I will be more prolific in the upcoming months than I have been in the last months. I try my best. Thank you for your time and see you on the next one. Bye.